The question you were asked is, would you date a bus driver? Period. And if your answer is no.
Her answer was no. And it was also couched by only if he owned the bus.
Hey, my loves. Welcome back to our channel. Thank you so much for joining us again. I'm your girl, Intisar Eleanor. This is my beautiful husband, Joseph. Hey. And we're coming through. We want to talk. We want to join the conversation. Everybody's talking about this clip with the incomparable Ayanna Van Zant and Ebony K. Williams. And then moving on to Ebony K. Williams by herself on the griot. With her response. And then again, the Breakfast Club interview after that. And it is really a fascinating conversation. And I think we kind of got lost. So I guess we'll set it up. Ayanna and went on the Breakfast Club. This all stems from Ayanna Van Zant was on the Breakfast Club. And she was talking about how women, specifically black women, are, sometimes we could be a little bit over the top when it comes to the alphaness and everything like that. And she really just is, made a stance to say, take off the pants and allow your hoo-ha to breathe, is what she said in the interview with Ebony K. Williams. So it really was a fascinating conversation around dynamics in the home and dynamics between men and women, specifically black men and black women. And I just felt like I felt like there's something here that we could chew on and really kind of have a conversation with you guys about.
So Zar has seen the joint, the video, and then sent it to me. And when I had already saw a clip of that conversation between Ayanna and
Ebony.
Mm-hmm. And I was like, I was kind of nervous to watch the whole thing because I felt like it would be like this whole like a yelling match about, Mars versus Venus. And I'm kind of over that whole thing. Just because the internet, you know what I mean? Yeah. I feel like it's just a lot of that. Especially as of the last couple years. So I'm kind of like exhausted with the whole like, and typically as a man, a lot of those conversations just turn into like men basting sessions. So I'll just be like kind of over
But you're exhausted with the whole what?
The whole Mars versus Venus conversation that's like kind of been a thing on the internet the past couple years. Uh-huh. So I was nervous about it, but then when I actually watched it,
it was a much better conversation.
It was a much better conversation. Yes. Which is why you can't get caught up on snippets.
You cannot.
And you need context, and you need to, before you go and tweet out all of your feelings, like go and like see the full conversation, read the full transcript, all of that. And so I thought even Ebony K, the clip that went viral was them kind of disagreeing about the bus driver thing, which we'll get to. But even Ebony K, at the end of watching a full conversation, said that Ayanna, even her speaking on this matter, she spoke so eloquently on it.
Yes, she did. And she always does.
As she always does. But she even went as far as to call it Maya Angelou-like. It was almost poetry. You know what I mean? So I thought that was really telling about even how she saw the conversation.
So you only watched that piece. Ebony K, after that, proceeds to double down on what she said. So in the piece on the griot with Ayanna, she agrees with her. Like, you know what, there's something to that, because Ayanna, did begin to qualify, like, okay, the whole bus driver thing or whatever the case may be. was a really good question. It was a really good question. And I'm glad that it kind of caught her off guard, because then she had to have an honest moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love Ebony K. She's a Virgo. She's part of the, Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority. I love her. I love her. I love her. I think she's amazing. But damn, she's been kind of digging a hole, I feel like, these last couple of days. So she goes on after that. If you see her response after that, she's almost like doubling down on this ideal. And I think it kind of, to your point, I don't feel like we ever get back to the conversation about what do you mean by you wouldn't date a bus driver? Because why not? Because when she goes forward on the Breakfast Club, she says, and even after that, she doubles down on it. Like, she feels like it's if you are in a space where you are able to do a job or do work in which the masses could do, that could be seen as mediocre. These are words she's used, not my words. Mediocre, average. And she used another word, and I cannot think of it. But I just thought it was... I think she wants to have a conversation that's bigger, and she's trying to position it from a space of racial inequities. But that's not what the bleep we talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The question you were asked is, would you date a bus driver? Period. And if your answer is no.
Her answer was no. And it was also couched by only if he owned the bus.
But my question is, why are people talking about Ebony's standards? Like, it's so clear to me y'all didn't watch the thing. Nobody has any issue, and I think this is what Ayanna was getting at. Ayanna said something that I thought was so poignant. All y'all talking about, everything you're talking about, oh, he gotta have this and he gotta that, a lot of that shit is obsolete. It's obsolete. So the fact that you know what I mean? Like, in truth, if all you're saying is true, Black women outpace their male counterparts, we're more degreed and more this and more that. If all of that is true, what are you looking for? If all of that is true, what are you looking for?
I think when you talk about Ayanna talking about the idea of it being obsolete, I thought that was such a great point of her to make, because initially when I hear her talk about this, it really drives home something that we talk about all the time on our videos about how a lot of y'all are worried about the wrong stuff. And
the scariest part of this, Joe, is that it's a lot of y'all. And when we talk about Black women having standards, and hold your thought, when we talk about Black women having standards in relation to how white women date or other women date, the truth of the matter is we want the standards that give us a 6 foot tall man or above. We want the standards of he got to have all this money. You know, I saw a clip and the girl said the man got to make $650,000 a year, which by all means, baby, that's great. But the truth of the matter is only 1% of people in America.
That's what Ayanna was talking about.
In America makes over that.
And to your point, in America, Ayanna not only spoke to this idea that a lot of Black women have, but she spoke to the numbers not numbering for all women.
Right.
And so did Ebony K. Ebony K actually gave the stat that women, at least in America,
across the board,
across all races and nationalities, are trending towards outpacing their male counterparts. That's all male. That's right. Asian men, that's white men, that's Black men, that's Indian men. What she was saying is that this is affecting all women too. Like, this is a trend which is why Ayanna made the point of it being obsolete. This idea that you have that all these motherfuckers, they gotta be making the 1% of the 1% is a thing that not only Black women have. That Ayanna was talking about. She feels is holding us back, but Ebony K made the stat herself that the numbers is not in your favor, no matter what you look like, right? If that's your standard, if they gotta make 650, if they gotta be 7 feet tall, if they gotta do all of this, that, and the third. And so I thought that Ayanna made a very good point when she said that we gotta change our way of thinking, because is obsolete. Like this idea that you have to, you're majoring in the minors, right? Because her issue with the bus driver comment wasn't about Ebony K having standards. It was about the fact that
what do you value?
What do you value? It was about speaking to the topic of you're worried about the wrong thing. Because Ayanna responded with, I would date the bus driver if he worked hard, if he loved driving the bus, if he treated me well, if he loved his mama, if he was, goal oriented. Like she went on this whole list of things that describe an amazing man. And so she was telling her that if you are so focused on this one area, you're going to miss out on so many amazing people because you're worried about whether or not they own the bus or not.
Now, I do want to give an alternative perspective. I think what Ebony is trying to get at is that Black women have been the architects of so much for so long. It's exhausting. And you do get to a space where you just want somebody else to take up the reins for you. There is a room for Black women wanting to be taken care of to a certain level, because Ebony said something that it resonated with me. And when I wanted to quit my job, one of the biggest things I was worried about, and the reason why I did not quit, to be honest, for the most part, was that I have a standard of living that I'm used to living. You got to be in a space where you think that people that you're with, the person that you occupy space with, when we say protect and provide, it's not just to pay bills, it's to provide the lifestyle that I am currently occupying, because I'm able to do that on my own. That's a hard pill for a lot of women to swallow, and to be in a vulnerable place with a man, specifically Black men, and they don't have the resources to do that. And that might be to no fault of their own. You know what I mean? It might just be the system. It might be a whole bunch of things that they are unable to do that. And now that shortens the pot of men that Black women can choose from. And I think that that's where she was getting, like, yeah, we don't want to be like this. We don't want to have to protect and provide. We've been put in a place where that's what we had to do. And Ayanna kind of agreed with that. Like she said, I was a great father and a horrible mother. And the way that I may have approached certain things was not with, nurturing and stuff like that. And I think I've suffered from that. I think, sometimes you and I have had conversations, and I've been like, I get curt. Like when it comes to the business, money, whatever, I get real, like, this is what it is. And that is not always conducive to a healthy partnership. But I think the key word here is partnership.
Well, that's what I liked about what Ayanna was saying too, because she spoke to, what do you want? Do you want, she said something in the video where it was along the lines of, do you want to just date or do you want to have a partner?
Right.
She said, because you can date all day long.
Oh, I thought that was a good question.
And you're just going to find something wrong with everybody that you date, right? But partnership is different, right? And so Ayanna really hit the nail on the head when she was talking about partnership and how to go after the things that you want that's going to lead to a successful partnership. And I think that that's what she was talking to too when she talked about these ideals being obsolete, being in a time in America where, when our parents bought houses, they was $2. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You need partnership to buy a house in America now. You know what I mean? Like
some people don't. What Ebony is getting at is that Black women have no problem purchasing homes.
No. What I'm saying is, as far as wanting a mate, right? So like Ayanna said, at this point, the idea that you are going to find somebody to just take care of all of your needs financially is obsolete for all women.
And then they don't have all these other values. Like you might be losing out on something.
Right. But that's what she was saying. And so, like I said, partnership and where we are, this is why she was connecting it to the idea of it being obsolete.
Right.
The idea that back in the day, you can go buy a house for $20. And now you can't. The majority of America can't do that. The majority of millennials, let's just take our age group as a whole, we are owning homes much less than any other generation before us because of where we are in America today. So that's what Ayanna was talking about. Not only just Black women, like I said, all women. And I thought that her speaking to the partnership aspect was really a dope thing because you don't hear that a lot. She also made a good point where she said something to the effect of, imploring women to live 100% confidently in their own femininity,
yeah,
right? And so that spoke to the idea that she said of, women, men build, women create. She said that, and she went deeper into that, which you should watch. If you haven't seen the video, go watch it.
You need to watch it because it gives I think it gives perspective.
Oh, 1,000%. And what she meant by that is women have an innate ability to organically create what they want in almost every space that they're in, right? Whether it's through the process of almost, she was speaking to like almost manifesting, you know what I mean? Just using that part of your femininity, using that part of your woman power. And she said being able to really nail that and finesse that within your own relationship, your partnership is basically, she was saying it's critical to the success of your relationship, because we talk about this a lot on our videos. Every successful team has roles. It doesn't, however you define those roles, it's how you define those roles, but you don't win as a team without somebody playing their part and playing their role. And so I thought that it was really dope that she spoke to that part of you can go ahead and be a successful career woman. You can go ahead and do all of the things that you want to do. But when you're asking for a successful partnership, you have to be able to give the reins to somebody to be able to be successful in their own role. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think there's something to that. The problem is that I do see it two ways. The issue is that I felt like Ebony started pivoting into a way that I wasn't really like comfortable with, because I believe that we live in a capitalist society. I say this all the time. And I don't necessarily believe that. And I'm also a city girl. You know what I mean? I was a city girl before a city girl was a city girl. So I was dating only men with money. You had to have money. I get her. And I get how easy it is to be feminine in spaces where you are surrounded by a man who take care of everything. But inversely, I think about being in a space that I am in now, and I just value other things now. So for me, it's less about, financially what you're able to provide and more about
partnership.
I don't even want to.
That's what she was saying. That's basically what she was saying. Like your values as far as partnership, because a lot of people say that they want a partner. They say that they want that in a marriage and in a spouse, but then they don't go about it in that.
Right. And I think I recognize now that generosity, and I say this all the time, is more important than anybody's financial status or career. You could date a man who work at Walmart, and if he give you every last red cent he got.
But that's what Ayanna was talking about.
If he's a man who starts working on Wall Street and making all the money, guess what he gonna do? Give you every single last cent he got, because that's in him. That's
what Ayanna was talking about.
That's in him.
She wasn't talking, and I think that's where it went off the rails, and that's where Ebony went off the rails. Ayanna was in no way imploring women to lower their standards.
No, and I don't know where y'all got that from.
Well, probably Ebony's rebuttals and all of these other things, but that's not what Ayanna was talking about.
That's not what she was saying.
Ayanna was talking about this. A whole thing comes down to wholeness and partnership, right? If what you're looking for is just somebody to pay your bills, you can go be in an open relationship, get somebody whose only job is that, and then you can have everything else with, you can do whatever you want to do. Yeah, a la carte, the rest of your relationship with different people, right? If that's what you want, go do it. But Ayanna was saying, especially in God's 2023, that's not partnership, and that's not what you're going to get. Right. And so she was saying that in order to get that, you have to change your mentality, and not in a way of lowering your standards, but how you value what your partner brings to the table. Because limiting your partner to literally their choice of career is going to leave you single and lonely, especially in today's America. And that's what Ayanna was saying.
And I think you're absolutely right. And I think that, part of me gets it, y'all. Like, I get that everybody want to live a soft life, and social media has got us all jacked up, or whatever the case may be. Up.
Well, she talked about, too, that I love.
But the truth of the matter is, and I think this was a big part of what she said, because Ebony Ebony said something when she was on her own podcast that kind of rubbed me the wrong way too. She said something, they were talking about Beyonce, and then Beyonce having tax issues or whatever. And then she ends the clip, or ends the moment by saying, I wonder if ain't nobody gonna ask Beyonce if she want a man who drive a bus. But let me tell you the difference between you and Beyonce. Beyonce wouldn't have been able to land Jay-Z if she wasn't already living in her femininity.
1,000%.
Because he was already that guy. You know what I mean? Like, let's keep it 100. And I think that's what y'all are missing. That is what y'all are missing.
Yeah, because Ayanna said that too.
A lot of times we watch these girls, sprinkle and everything like that. What they're telling you to do is live so deeply in your divine femininity. And I tell people that all the time. I haven't had the caliber of men I had because I'm just around here doing all this. I am a feminine human.
But speak to what all this is, because I think that's important. Because Ayanna spoke to that. When you say I wasn't around here doing all this, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
I don't think everybody who people who may not know you and maybe didn't see the video know what all this is, because all this is a lot of things that deter men in today's time, which is what Ayanna spoke to. So speak to what you mean by that.
So I think what I mean by all this is that I never led with standards. I just was the standard. I never felt like I had to let a mother jumper know what it is or what we doing. I just would finesse or lead in a way. Which
is the masculine energy that Ayanna was talking about that a lot of people lead with now that deters people.
And that's what I think. And I think that if y'all are under the impression, because she said something about the throat and the mouth, this divine device, which I thought was on point. Mm-hmm. If you're under the impression that you're going to take that same mouth and those same words and go talk to a man who got it going on like that, you're crazy. And I was watching something, and you know the couple that hang out with Kev on stage, she a little thicker, and he got a bald head with I cannot remember this woman's name, but I love her. She's hilarious. I cannot remember her name, but her and her husband do the skits and stuff like that too. But she said, I never had to change myself. No matter how masculine I am, I could never be more masculine than my husband, right? I thought that was so asinine. The truth of the matter is, it ain't a woman on earth who got a man, including myself, who don't talk to people a certain way outside of the house versus how I talk to my husband. It's not one. And if you don't do that, that's a problem too. Because he should feel, you're not going to get me to believe that you haven't contorted yourself, acquiesced, done a little massaging to get to the place where he could feel like you a special place to land. Mm-hmm. And not only does that give you more grace to open up and say what you need to say out your mouth, more room, but it also gives him an understanding of okay, I'll let you balloon or flower in a certain manner, and I know how to, quell a situation too. I think there's something to that. I think that y'all can't be under the impression that even Ebony agreed to this too. She's been at tables and dinners, and the guy has been like, we don't have to litigate this.
Yeah.
We are not in the courtroom. And y'all get so caught up, and I mean this respectfully because I think I've been there as well, like Ayanna did. We get so caught up in what we've created. I do this all the time. Just because I'm well into the six figures and I'm doing this and I got this money coming over every other day or whatever, that don't mean I get to come home and say any old thing to my husband. That don't mean that, because, I don't understand. I don't think that my husband's only value is in his finances. I feel like Joe, in particular, provides so many different things that I greatly lack. You know what I mean? I can think of networking, organization, so many things that if I was just focused on one aspect of who this human being was, I would not be able to experience or grow from and learn from. And I think the biggest thing that Ayanna is saying is everybody wants something ready-made.
Oh, 1,000%.
It's unbelievable.
And I think social media had a lot of effect on that too. Now, everybody is looking for this turnkey relationship where they don't have to do any growth, and they don't have to, whether it's within their relationship itself, the relationship has to start off being perfect.
Yep.
Or with the individual. The individual can't have a place to grow. And Ayanna is talking about what you were saying as far as living in your femininity, is what Ayanna was saying as far as learning how to navigate these relationships, especially in the courting stages, of how to approach the man that you want, or not approach them as far as courting them,
right.
But like how to approach the situation. Because, you know, she said something that I thought was amazing, and just speaking to the power in women. You know what I'm saying? The power that you have, the power in your tongue, the power in your presence. And, you know, she made the point of saying that men in general, especially black men, have what she calls a genetic memory, which draws back, especially in America, draws back to years and years and years. But she said, which makes especially black men very sensitive to our women's mouths and how we are spoken to and how we interact. And she said that you as a woman have a very powerful tongue, no matter what woman you are, have a very powerful tongue that can make or break, especially in the infant stages of a relationship, how that relationship goes. She said, we got to start stop beating these men down with our tongue and demeaning them, but then wanting them to show up in a certain way for us.
And everything is expectations, like you say, expectations kill the cat. And I think a lot of that is rooted in the expectation. But the truth of the matter is, to your point, we can't, she said something about like men build and women like hold dominion. That resonated with me so much because I've been, you know, I try to think about like people, my sister says this, like people meet me and then immediately want to take care of me. Men, women, it don't even matter. And I don't know what that is. And I think a part of that is that holding dominion. I can create. If you give me the space, I can create. You know what I mean? If you give me the room, I can create. And I think that who's to say you don't get with a bus driver or this or that, as if that means anything, and don't create something so.
Because that's what she was saying. That's partnership. She said that's why she said in the bus driver conversation, that's why Ayanna went on to say, which is not in a clip that's going viral, I can build with a bus driver because I can work with him on whatever our business is. I can create with him. And that allows for growth in the relationship. And how you move, how you speak, especially when you're in the process of growth, is very important. And that's where Ayanna was saying a lot of people make the mistakes in the dating world, right? When my wife met me, I didn't make the money that I make now, right? But I never felt demeaned. I never felt like I can't grow with this person. I always felt empowered and encouraged to keep doing what I was doing so that I can grow as in professional myself, but also our relationship. And like she said, had that not been that way, we wouldn't be here today. We wouldn't even be together probably.
Right.
You know what I mean?
With different standards.
When Michelle Obama met Barack, she out-earned him. You know what I mean? Not only did she out-earn him financially, but she was the guy. Like she was the guy. She was far more established in her professional career than he was. They built something together, and he ended up being the president of the United States, the first black one. So we're not saying that you need to go pick a bum up off the street.
Nobody's saying
You know what I'm saying? But we're saying you need to shift your way of thinking, and also look at if you want a relationship, if you want a partnership, look at it as a whole, and so that you can really understand where the potential is in the relationship and where it can grow. And a lot of people enter these relationships in their infant stages and they snuff it out really fast because they don't see a finished product.
But a lot of y'all got a dollar amount. And that's weird to me too. Because when you're actually in partnership with somebody, that shit don't matter. Like we live an upper middle class lifestyle. Period. We got a joint account. We pay our bills. That's it. It ain't if you ain't making $650,000, it's none of that.
Also, the math is not mathing for y'all. Not for none of y'all. Like, it's not for none of y'all.
Say it again for the people in the back.
The math is not mathing for y'all.
It is not.
These unicorns that y'all looking for, they don't. That's why Ayanna was saying the word obsolete.
It's obsolete.
Because it's not mathing for y'all. The economy don't agree with what you're looking for. The consensus don't agree with what you're looking for. Black, white, and otherwise, the math is just not mathing. And so that's what she was talking about. And I thought that was the big takeaway.
And your value, and I say this all the time, is not commiserate with what you do for a living.
At all. Not even.
It's just not. It's just not. And I know that social media has gotten us thinking we got to have this and have that, whatever the case may be. And even for myself, I have to remind myself, the value of who I am is not that I'm a senior manager. That's not the value. It's just not. The value of who I am is in how I treat other people, how I treat my husband, how I take care of my home. To me, that's where my value lies. And I recognize we all want these lifestyles. I really, really do. And I'm really trying to give credence to that and have a bigger conversation around that. But I think that, and this is with all due respect, a lot of y'all, I be having conversations with y'all and be confused because a lot of y'all be talking about these men that y'all want and everything like that. And you're right. The numbers is not in your favor. If it's 5 of y'all, because if we talking about it, black women got all the degrees, all the money and everything like that. Funky Dineva did this. And I really want to shout out Funky Dineva. You don't know Funky Dineva, but I love Funky Dineva. I was really doing a deep dive on this topic. Funky Dineva said, if it's 5 women who make this amount, and by the numbers, only 1 man, black man, who make this amount, 4 of y'all ain't got a man.
Right.
So what are y'all doing? What is your value? And the truth of the matter is, it's not that y'all just want, the standard is not just in the finance. That's the problem. The standard is in all of these checks that y'all need to have, when in truth, where do your values lie? That's it. Where do your values lie? You're going to live a certain life. If you want to live a certain life and you want somebody to help you with that or hold you to that certain standard, you can meet a mother jumper with less and still get it. It's all in the motivation. Anybody, you could meet anybody and they provide you with the soft life, whatever that is. And I know there's a conversation around, men don't like when women make more money. But the truth is, if you just removed it and we didn't talk about, the only way a man know you make more money than him is if you told him. How else would he know that you make more money? You would have to lead with that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Which most women do. This
is a true story. I'm talking to my girlfriend. We all sitting around at a round table and she says, yeah, this guy just asked me to borrow some money so he could pay whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. And I just asked her straight up, now how did he know? I said, so you told him you had money? I literally just answered it. So you told him you had money. If you never bring it up,
it's never a thing.
It's never a thing. And not to say that you shouldn't talk about finances. You should talk about your joint goals. You should talk about where you want to be. You should talk about what this looks like in the future, who contributes what. But in truth, if everything is taken care of, what is the problem?
That's a value thing. And I just feel like also, This is an issue on both sides of the gender line. Mm-hmm. Like we was talking about the numbering. Any men out there who's watching this who might have a problem with their partner making more money than them, you're gonna have to get over that too, because the numbers aren't the math isn't mathing for you either. The math says that you're gonna meet more women, especially if the trend keeps trending, you're going to meet more women that make more money than you. You know what I'm saying? The moral of this video is that you can't get caught up in these silly check marks where they have to do this and they have to do that. You got to place your value. You got to look at the big picture.
Right.
And I think that that's what more people have to do. And if more people did that, they will have more success in their relationships and in their seeking of
building partnerships.
Yeah.
Because she made it, I think, one of the most spot on points anybody could date. That's easy.
Yeah.
That's easy. But the problem is a lot of y'all are still in the dating mind and the partnership mind never crossed it.
Yeah.
You never even thought partnership was the option. It was always just the dating. So that's why it's so easy for y'all to come up with these things. Like, you know what I mean?
And I would argue that it's a lot of people that claim to want partnership who really aren't looking for partnership. If you're just looking for a sponsor, you're not looking for partnership. So a lot of your issue is that you're having these fires started that is quickly put out by other people who are actually looking for partners.
Who are actually looking for partners. And I really want to say, like, specifically Black women, I don't think that we should lower our standards. I think we should create standards aligned with our what we value. Not our financial value, what we value in life. You know what I mean? Because they all gonna do whatever they want to do. They all gonna say whatever they want to say. So at least be aligned with somebody who values you, who is generous in thought, finance, everything, time, all of that. And really start to like rework how we're looking at it. Because I really would like to meet this man who I'll talk about wanting a man with money. A lot of y'all don't even get up and comb your head. Y'all don't even be like, it's just a lot of ways we can go with this.
Yeah, it is.
And I don't even want to reduce this to a woman thing. Like, we got to reduce our standards. I think it's more that there are so many valuable Black men out there that don't get their just desserts because they driving a bus.
1,000%. And that's a perfect way to end this video.